How's it going, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Buddy's House of Horror podcast. This is going to be the ongoing series that me and the man of many, many names, Miles, the Midnight Jester Mandroid, we're going to be talking about our underrated films. On the last episode of the show, we obviously did his films, but this week it's my turn. So we're going to be reviewing Oculus and Popcorn. And yeah, I can't wait to go ahead and get started with you guys. So without further ado, make sure you guys subscribe to the show, spread the good word about the show to everyone you know, leave me a rating, review. If you're watching this on YouTube, give it a thumbs up. And yeah, we're just going to get right to it. So here are my underrated films, Oculus and Popcorn. Alright everyone, welcome back to another episode of the show. Again, we're talking about our underrated films. And today we got a couple good ones for you. We're going to start with my picks. Last week, obviously, we did Midnight Miles's. So what's going on, Kat? How you been?
Not too bad. We're trying to get these podcasts, get them in. The month is I guess underway at this point, since this won't be the first podcast. I'm gonna apologize in advance. I did your let's see. I guess the Two Nerds was the first podcast, right? Technically before this one, or
right? Yeah,
okay.
2 years. It's going on 4 years. This one just started last year, technically.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So all right. So this is the offspring of Two Nerds, then,
right? Yeah.
Okay. Well, your OG podcast, I was recently on that, and I apologize to anyone that listened to that because I don't think I was worth a damn. So I'm not sure if that's going to be out before this episode, but if you want to hear Midnight Miles in rare form, I think a few other people randomly spoke on there, I mean, you don't know who we don't even know who came through and talked during that one. But
yeah, it was interesting.
That Two Nerds, a podcast on the short film ones, I highly recommend checking that out if you want to have a fun time.
Ironically, Midnight Miles, around midnight, he's in his true form. So
where do you think I got the name from? They've never heard it on here before, but
yeah.
We'll see. Maybe for my final picks at the end of the month around Halloween, maybe I'll get a little loose. We'll really liven this place up,
Yeah. So yeah, as I said, we're talking about underrated films. Last week we were talking about the Innkeepers and Oculus. And by the way, we do have a special guest in the studio with us today. You want to introduce your friend real fast?
Yeah, I brought Midnight Mocha. Midnight Mocha's here. Mocha's my dog. He's kind of a butthead, and he's sniffing around right now looking for any crumb, speck of anything he can just shove in his mouth. But Midnight Mocha is actually a Halloween baby. He actually will probably come out around his well, it's a little before Halloween, but October 20th is his birthday. So it's very fitting I would get a dog that was born in October. But
yeah, it's perfect timing. Yeah, He's obviously very happy about the season, and hopefully he enjoys some of the films that we're going to be watching tonight.
He's about to get spooked out for this next one.
Before we get into Oculus, can we go back to Innkeepers just for a second? Because I feel like both of us, when we were talking about it, we were a little underprepared, and I actually found the notes that I was taking during Innkeepers.
We can go back to anything you want. This is your show. Hey, look, before we say that, I wasn't underprepared. I brought those deep stories. I actually remembered some of the articles. I did, so don't throw me under the bus.
Yeah, I just wanted to say a couple of my notes real fast of things that I liked about Innkeepers. It was very interesting how the opening credits, even like right from the beginning, it sort of introduced so-and-so as this character. Like, it didn't just say like the names. It was like, I forget what the characters' names were off the top of my head.
Yeah,
but
no, it did,
it like introduced everyone like as their role, which I thought was interesting. Midnight Mocha's
fucking pitting because he loves Innkeepers.
Yeah. And I also like that it was like broken into chapters.
It is. We didn't
mention that. Yeah,
we did. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the rest of the stuff is just like random notes I took, but I thought that those things were like interesting that we didn't touch upon last week. I also wrote worst hair of all time keeps getting higher. I think I was like referring to the guy,
the lead guy. Yeah, he what was another film that he was in that he was phenomenal in? When it came, I think 2015. Was it? He was in the one that it was like up in I'm gonna have to look. I never put my phone out during the podcast. Some of you never noticed that, but I'm gonna look. What's that guy's name? Pat Healy or whatever.
I'm not sure what his name is. Sure, we can.
I'll give him on the letterbox real quick.
Yeah, Pat Healy. I'm on IMDb right now. All filmography. Oh, he's been in a ton of shit. 113 films.
Yeah, he's done a ton of stuff.
I guess while you're looking that up, a couple other things I thought were interesting about Innkeepers. Not necessarily the film itself, but the DVD. I remember it said, the DVD, it told you, like, in the menu, make sure the volume is loud.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe it was in one of the title cards or something, but it said, make sure your volume's loud. That might have been, like, right before the climax or whatever, but...
Cheap Thrills was the film he was in. You ever see Cheap Thrills?
I haven't seen it, no.
Phenomenal. That was 2013. When did we get so old?
Yeah, I don't know. That's crazy.
It's actually got Sarah Paxton in it too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they've done a
few things together. And yeah, I just like that it romanticized being a loser. We touched on that a little bit, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a solid flick, and then I also wrote down in quotes, "My eyes feel like Tapatio," which was a quote from it, I guess. I guess the guy said that, like the hot sauce.
Oh yeah, I know what Tapatio is. I'm trying to remember when he said that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like that. I think it's one of those ones that, like, it would probably pair perfect with Oculus. I think that
probably would pair perfect with Oculus, yeah. So if you haven't seen either of these films, tonight would be the night to do that. Watch along with us. So Oculus, I don't know how much we want to go too deep into before we watch it, but basically it's sort of like a supernatural / psychological horror film from 2013. Mike Flanagan co-wrote, edited, and directed the film, so he really had his hand in pretty much everything. One thing that I didn't know was that this was actually based off of like a short film that he made.
I actually did know that.
Yeah.
I think when they... Was it when they started doing, like, started promoting it, a lot of the promotional stuff for it, didn't they release the short film as, like, a teaser, like, beyond the trailer, too?
I don't know, because I didn't, I hadn't heard about the short film until I was, like, researching this. I mean, they might have, but I hadn't heard of it.
I thought both of his first two features, which I mentioned, I think, on the other podcast, to see Absentia, his first one. I think both of them were shorts before they were features.
Probably, yeah. I mean,
so
it's the same situation with, like, Lights Out or whatever, and all that kind of stuff. But another thing that I found interesting was that he was actually approached by studios, like, almost immediately after the short film premiered in 2005. So, like, around 2006, they wanted him to make Oculus then, but they wanted it to be, like, found footage, and he was like, nah, I'm not on that. But I just thought that was interesting, because that would have, like, even predated, like, Paranormal Activity and everything.
He could have been...
So that... He could have done
real well.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had... I know we're not going to get too into it, but he's had quite an interesting career all the way up until, doing Dr. Sleep recently and everything like that, But
yeah, so I just thought that was interesting. Like, his career could have been drastically different if he would have done that in 2006. But
it's funny that he turned studios down and was still able. I always love when people do that. Like, they turn studios down, probably a guaranteed good amount of money, possibly jumpstarting your career about 5 years before it really went into full swing, and then he was still able to have a good career. Because a lot of people, when you say no, Hollywood say no like that.
That's it,
You're done, man. I mean, and it's funny that he didn't do, now that you said that he didn't do Oculus first.
Yeah.
The whole other feature before Oculus.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I haven't seen it in a couple years. I really love the film. From what I remember, I'm sure I'm still going to love it. But, yeah, I don't know. I think I ranked it, like, 3 or 4 in, like, my top 10, like, favorite modern horror films. So
it was definitely in my top 10 the year it came out, of, like, all my films that I liked that year, whichever year it came out. Like, I remember it being, like, I was, like, really impressed by it.
But yeah, I mean, I guess if you don't have anything else to say, we can dive right into watching it, unless you have anything else you want to share. You excited to watch it, man? I mean,
I am excited to watch it because, like I said, I probably haven't seen this since it was in theaters. I think I saw it maybe twice in theaters, but I haven't seen it. I'm going to look in the back of the DVD real quick, see what year it's going to fucking... Ooh, 2014. Where are all these years going?
Yeah, 2014. I think it premiered in 2013 at like film festivals and stuff, and then it came out in 2014. To pretty good reviews. I mean, I didn't see it until it was on that DVD, actually. I got that DVD like that year or whatever.
You didn't see it in theaters?
I didn't see it in theaters, no. I hadn't heard about it.
I remember, I think it was one of those like opening weekends. But before all of the pandemic and everything, I'm a pretty big opening weekend guy.
Right.
Usually I'm there, but yeah, I loved it. I thought it was great. But,
cool. Well, we'll see if we still think it's great. So we're gonna watch it right now, and we'll get back to you. So
we're signing off. Watch with us.
All right, so we literally just watched the film, man.
We just finished Oculus.
It's been a quiet few minutes. And we let the credits roll. And just sat here in silence for a little bit.
I'm up for the credits rolling, though. Honestly, it's just like when I go to the cinemas. Usually the last one out. So
yeah,
I watch it all.
But I don't know. I'll let you take the lead on this one. Yeah, I mean, I feel like when we watched Undead, I sort of took the lead of the conveation.
Just ripped the film to
yeah,
shreds,
so I'll let you have the floor first on this one here.
I thought, I guess the first note, I thought the film held up amazingly well. I thought it was really, really just all around. The acting was good. Like, the characters were all good. I thought the dialogue, there wasn't anything cringy. There wasn't anything, like, you go back and watch a film, you're like, oh, maybe I don't remember this being, like, this bad or, like, this bad or things like that. It didn't feel, even being 6 years old, sometimes things, I hate to use the word dated. We used to like to use that, but I felt like that, it felt brand new almost for me to watch again. It felt like very, like, a modern, especially with, like, the whole psychological thriller kind of aspect to the whole like mental health thing. They did a lot about him, the main character, what was the boy's name? Tim, yeah. Yeah, they kept calling him Timbo. I'm bouncing around a little bit now. We've been doing these podcasts a little bit late, like when we get done, and I'm just like, okay, here we go. My brain's gonna bounce around everywhere.
Yeah,
but really good tension. Some scenes. Made me uncomfortable in some scenes, I guess. I think he does a really good job of writing really realistic characters, where if you took the supernatural elements out of this film, it could just be a very dark and twisted film about mental health and stuff like that. And it's like something that if you just edited out all those scenes, like with the supernatural stuff, it could be a very terrifying, close to home, scary film about a family that literally is like falling apart at the seams, and it's very believable, So it's not, he does a very good job, like, I guess I like my stuff a little bit more, not fantasized, but a little bit more not realistic. So when you get stuff that has a little bit of realism, could be realistic, it really hits me. I'm not a very big Midnight Mouse isn't a very big fan of like serial killer shit or all that stuff. I know women love that shit. Netflix has 18,000 different documentaries a week on it, but I'm about the monsters, the creepy crawlies, the ghosts, the demons, the spirit, the werewolves, the vampires. I like that stuff. I like mocking death, laughing at death. I like stuff like that. But when stuff that has like enough of like a backbone or a vein of realism,
this isn't a feel-good picture.
It's really not.
No.
There's a lot of, you know what, and it's a thing to remember. There's a lot of on-screen violence towards children in this.
Yeah.
And it's like something when I watched it the first time in theaters, I think I was so drawn into the story and how good everything was. Maybe I thought about it, but I didn't resonate. I don't know if it resonated in the way it did this time, where I'm like, fuck, there's at least like 7-8 scenes where kids are getting like choked to death and stuff, like close-ups, and I'm just like,
yeah,
fuck, man. Like,
And of course, you're a little older now, and you're like, I don't know, like...
maybe that too, I guess. But I've always been one where, I think as I've gotten older, the stuff that's a little bit more realistic, or has, like I said, a vein of realism, bothers me more. But it's always kind of bothered me. I'm definitely more of a,
Yeah.
I like my stuff a little bit out there, because it's a little bit mocking death, laughing at death. I can laugh at death. I can laugh at my mortality. Stuff like this is like, fucks with me, man. But anyways,
Yeah.
I'll say some more. You
Yeah, I think you kind of really hit the nail on the head with a lot of the stuff that you said. I think the thing that makes the film really work, like you said, is the characters. And this is the way I felt when I first watched the film. The thing that's so great about it is that you have two of the leads that are polar opposites, where the guy, Tim or whatever, he has spent the last 10, 11 years of his life being drilled into his head that this did not happen and all this stuff, where you had the complete opposite end of the spectrum, where you had the sister who was obsessing over it for the past 11 years.
Fixated on, literally fixated, where she planned an entire scenario.
Yeah.
And somehow got this mirror back. Probably in all actuality, the only reason
she's with this
with
guy.
that guy is for this purpose. Or he just kind of was like, oh, my boss is kind of cute, I'll get married to him. But the reason I guarantee she started probably the whole career field that she did,
right, is to track down,
find a way to get to this mirror.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that really is what makes it work, because you have them going at each other the whole time, and you don't know which one is... I mean, because even it leaves it sort of ambiguous, like you don't really know.
It does a very good job at that.
Like he does with a lot of his films. I mean, it definitely... Because I haven't seen this since I watched Hill House, so I definitely see a lot of the stuff that he carried over from that into this. Right. And of course,
that's a great show, by the way.
Yeah, and also Before I Wake. I don't know if you've seen Before I Wake.
Saw Before I Wake. Yeah.
Before I Wake, not as good as this, but it had a very similar vibe, where it's the family trauma and all that kind of stuff.
It'd be like, it's like the PG-13 version of this. It's a little more simplistic story too, which it's not bad. It's got a little more fantasy aspect, if I remember right.
Yeah, because the canker man and all that, and then you get the twist at the end. But yeah, I thought it was very well done. I definitely thought, I didn't remember how depressing it actually was for a lot of it.
It's pretty. It's kind of rough. I mean, rough and it's pretty bleak. Bleak's a harsh word for it, but I guess not. I mean, it's pretty bleak. There's not a lot. There's not a lot of hope or optimism in this film.
Yeah. There were a couple one-liners every once in a while, more towards the beginning, but yeah, I did not remember it being as dark as it was. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not one where at the end you're super stoked about life or anything.
No, I mean, do we spoil anything?
I mean, sure. I mean, during the break, everyone had the chance to watch the film along with us.
Well, so, I mean, the dude just gets out of basically being rehabilitated. Has no idea about, I mean, I'm sure books, magazines, internet, but no real world experience. He's been, institutionalized essentially since he was 10, his whole he's 21 now. He just turned 21. Gets to see his sister again. Within 2 hours of seeing his sister, she brings up this frickin' mirror. He can't even enjoy his sandwich at lunch without being fucked back into the real world and literally having his mind starting to unravel, because he literally doesn't even have one day to get to be a normal person. And then flash forward to the end, he accidentally kills his sister. Spoiler alert, fuck you if you didn't watch it. But and then he gets arrested again, and now he's probably going to be in jail for the rest of his life. Now let's talk about this for a sec though. We're bouncing around. I'm probably going to bounce around a lot.
That's fine.
Okay, so it's very convenient that they watched the last minute of all of that footage. So what are they going to do when they watch the whole, 12 hours of that footage?
Right.
Obviously, something is
going
amiss.
on. Yeah.
Like, it's not, oh, why are these people putting all these cameras together and having these conversations, and why are these things moving, and why are they, you know?
Right.
I mean, obviously, they need to arrest him, but the way the film ends, it kind of wraps up like that it's a done deal, I guess, because, you know, whatever, that's the cleanest way, I'll use that for lack of a better term, to get it done. But, come on. Some investigator's going to watch all those hours of footage and be like, what the hell actually happened in this place, you know?
Yeah, I mean, and who knows, because, I mean, they could just cover it up because they don't want the mirror to get back out, or, like, they don't, because the other cases were, like, reported and stuff, like, all the stuff she, like, went over. I mean, who knows, they could swipe it under the rug, or, I mean, we don't know what could happen after that. I mean, because definitely, yeah, if you're going to watch all that footage, then you're going to see something's, like, fucked up. So I don't know. I mean, that's where the film ends, so I don't really want to say it's, like, a plot hole or anything.
It's not a plot
but, like,
hole. It's one of those things, like, I guess, like, the story was so good, it's one of those things that... It's a great ending, but at the same time, I just think because they recorded everything, the little part of me goes like, really? Are they really going to put him away forever? But the thing is, this was probably, of all those cases that she mentions, she has a whole scene in the middle of the film where she goes into extreme backstory, but I'll give him credit. One of the smartest ways to present a backstory. Where she did the, you know, all her digging and searching, and she wanted it documented for the tape that she was doing.
It's integrated into the story. It's not like, oh, well, we need to show you the backstory, or we're going to do a billion flashbacks or whatever. It's like, it serves the purposes of the film because she's going over all this for, like, the documentation.
And that's very smart. The writing and everything, and the way he puts everything together is very smart. You had touched on how there are parts where you don't know if there's like probably like 20 to 30 minutes, probably I'd say 20 is where it is, like, where he is basically convincing her that there is no supernatural thing, and it actually is working because none of her things that she's doing are actually working.
Right.
So there's some good things where you don't know, like, is the dad that it flashes back. Okay, the big thing we haven't talked about, flashes back from what actually happened to the present day. So the timelines are constantly changing as the film is going. Like, it'll be 10 years back, it'll be present day, you know?
Right. And sometimes it's like interwoven together.
As it gets to the end, they're, you know, you don't really, they think they're either kids or they're adults. Are they in the same rooms? It starts to just be everywhere, you know. You don't know what's a flashback, what's present, and what's real, you know. Which kind of puts you through the character's eyes because they have no idea.
Right.
So that's another smart, you know, storytelling towards the climax. But I see you're getting distracted by Midnight Mocha over there. He's getting
Mocha enjoyed the film quite a bit.
He stayed right there, you know, was ready for it. Didn't hide his face or anything, you know. What else you got to touch on?
Everything. I mean, we've been talking about the story and all that. I mean, obviously the direction, cinematography, all of that's top notch. No complaints there. I'm not sure if the main actor guy has, like, gone on to do anything significant after this. I know the girl has been in, like, all, like, the Marvel movies and stuff, so she's been, like, killing it. But I don't really know what he's been up to.
He did one of those, like, young adult novel films, and I think he did a couple other bigger films. I think around the same time he had, like, a handful of years where he did a bunch of stuff.
Oh, really?
Which is kind of like that weird thing you get a lot of those actors where they add in, like, they're, like, late teens to, like, early 20s, and they quit acting by the time they're, like, mid-20s.
Oh, really?
I've noticed that over the last 10 years. There'll be people that do, like, a bunch, maybe, like, half a dozen films, theatrical stuff, and then overnight they're just...
It's like, whatever, I made my money, I'm gonna chill.
I don't know if it's the whole, like, youth, where there's a constant influx, they want younger, newer talent.
No, that's possible,
and some people just don't have what it takes to
adapt
get some of the older roles, and, you know, once they get older and stuff like that. Your wife's sitting over there, even though she's very quiet.
Yeah.
But a lot of the Twilight actors and stuff, they, did a handful of roles for like 5 or so years after that. And then besides
Robert Pattinson.
And she just blushed over there when we said his name. But
I think we all blushed a little bit.
I did. I can't say what I was gonna say. You have sponsors now. I can't say what I was. But anyways, I got a little excited, if you know what I mean, when I said his name. But a legend. But besides him, and he basically started his career over. Essentially, went into worked with indie directors and just slowly and his stuff with David Cronenberg was just phenomenal. But a lot of them just worked a handful of years, and that was it. They kind of just fell off the face of the planet. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's the way to go, right? Do 10 films, make a bunch of money, and then go
peace out. Yeah.
Peace out,
yeah. I don't know what else to say.
The children actors I thought were phenomenal.
Oh yeah, they're good.
Super child actors are so hit or miss, even when people praise them to me. But they were phenomenal. I thought both of them still. I remember that watching the first time. I'm like, God, they really killed it. Everyone really killed in this. Everyone was really believable in the role, but the young actors, actor and actresses, they did a really good job in this.
Yeah. I will say the film is very, very informationally and talk driven, I guess, dialogue heavy.
It is very heavy.
It's not the most exciting film in the world. I mean, once it gets going towards the end and all the creepy stuff starts happening and whatnot. But I don't know if people might find it slow or something like that. I didn't find it slow.
I didn't find it slow at all.
Because I like all that kind of stuff. I don't know. Do you want to chime in at all, illustrious wife, or you just vibing with?
I'm just vibing.
Just vibing, okay.
We're vibing.
I will say though, even though it is very dialogue heavy, they cut to the chase very quickly.
Yeah.
As soon as within the first 15 to 17 minutes, she's like, "I have this mirror. I'm going to take it to the house. We're going to do this." So there's not a lot. They don't fuck around a lot. I mean, they're basically for over an hour. In the thickest stuff. So I think modern audiences, I don't think they, despite how dialogue heavy it is, I think everything keeps the story going so much. The flashbacks too, with them going back and explaining what happens with the family, I think that breaks things up enough where it's constantly something different, every 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah. I know when I was reading online, before this, we had mentioned in, the open to the show that they wanted to do it, found footage style, where basically the entire film was just the footage that they get from the thing, and he didn't want to do that, which I guess was, the right call. I mean, it would be interesting to see something that was all found footage like that, but I think that,
the story would have suffered.
It would,
I don't think that he could have done the depth of that story with found footage. Also, how would you do...
You wouldn't be able to do any of the flashbacks or anything.
The overlapping scenes where you're not sure if it's towards the end where it's the present or what it is. It wouldn't have registered in the same way in found footage.
Yeah, so it makes sense why he didn't do it the way that the studios wanted him to. I guess in the long run it worked out. I mean, it would have been good at the time to make a quick buck or whatever, but
held his ground, I guess.
Yeah.
That artistic integrity, right?
Yeah, and he was nervous because it was just a short film or whatever. So he was kind of nervous to extend it to a feature length thing. He didn't really know what to do with it. So I think what he came up with, I mean, it was really good. So
I couldn't imagine the story that he wrote being any better. I mean, it's still, like I said, it was one of my favorite films the year it came out, and I mean, it's still great. Probably one of the better horror films of of that decade.
For sure.
The 2010s. I mean.
Yeah, it was one of my favorites for sure. But again, it's on here because it's not one people really talk about as much. So.
Well, I don't know. I don't know why they don't. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe, I guess I'm surprised with his career and everything that's happened since that it hasn't been more talked about. But I also feel like he as a director is a little underrated.
Oh, for sure,
He gets praise and stuff like that.
He's not a household name at all.
And he should be, because honestly, the quality of his work is there. Like everything I've seen, almost his whole filmography. I've seen Haunting a Hill House, the series. It's amazing. He's a great writer for like, I think, I mean,
Yeah, I've liked everything that I've seen of his. I mean, the only one I haven't seen is the one that you brought up. His.
Yeah, you'll really like that one. I think you saw Doctor Sleep, right?
We saw Dr. Sleep together.
That's what I thought. I thought that was. I was like, we did see that together. I thought I was losing my mind. On the way over, I was like, we saw Doctor Sleep together, right?
Yeah.
That was only last.
That was November. Yeah.
But it feels like 8 lifetimes.
Oh yeah,
honestly,
it feels so long ago.
That feels like 4 years ago.
Yeah, the mirror actually makes an appearance in Doctor Sleep. I think it's in the hotel. It's just like in the background. Like you're not. I mean, it's not significant or anything. It's just in there. He just threw it in as a little in joke. I think it's in Gerald's game too. It's the actual like bed frame, is the frame from the mirror in Gerald's game. And it's in a couple. It's in like Ouija Origin of Evil, but I haven't seen that one either.
Yeah, you said. Yeah.
But yeah, it's in that one as well. But yeah.
I was disappointed that Doctor Sleep, on a side note, didn't do very well theatrically, because I really thought that was going to be... He's had some, like, obviously Ouija did decent, the sequel, but he goes from doing studio stuff to Netflix to almost like indie stuff, and I thought maybe that was going to be his big...
Propel him to the next level,
yeah.
Well, I mean, they are doing a follow-up. They're doing the Dick Halloran film or whatever, but I don't know if he's just produced... Yeah. I don't know if it's him in like the spirit realm or whatever, but I don't know how it might be a prequel to everything. I don't really know, but they are doing that. So I guess Dr. Sleep did well enough where he's getting a sequel. So
I wonder what. Well, it was like it did really real review wise. Like people really. I mean, I haven't read Dr. Sleep, so I don't know, but I thought it was great. Like,
it was a good film. I mean, I don't know. I mean, from what I've heard, it does very good justice to the source material as well as to the Kubrick film. Because, again, I haven't read the book, but I feel like, and from what I've read online, that both fans of the book and fans of the original film both like it.
Yeah.
So he was able to mesh those together without pissing too many people off. So, which, again, I mean, he's a fantastic writer and, like, storyteller. Like, the stuff he comes up with is, like, next level. So
yeah, especially for the modern era, I really do think that he'll probably be one of those directors that in like 20 years after he directs another handful of films too, people will probably slowly look back and be like, oh yeah, that guy was really damn good.
Yeah. But it's not like, because like right now, like Ari Aster's like the big thing. He's had like 2 films, and like I feel like everyone knows who he is, but like I still feel like Flanagan, it's not there yet, even though I like Flanagan's body of work significantly better.
I agree, even though I really like Hereditary and Midsommar a lot. But I think it's how they marketed him, and I think it's also a lot of stuff with the horror is all about timing. It's always been that way. Horror, when things are released, I mean, stuff like Halloween, things like that, they all released at the same time when things were changing. Like, I think fans all of a sudden, like when Hereditary came out, they were like starting to be like, oh, I can watch a longer horror film again.
Right.
Or, this is cool, or this is weird.
Yeah.
I want to get in like weirder stuff. So it was like gateway stuff for them, you know? Where like his stuff came out in the middle of, I mean, this came out 2014. They were still finishing up like a lot of the stuff from the decades before, maybe not so much in 2014, but some was still dying off, definitely direct-to-video stuff. There was a lot of found footage, a lot of ghosts. Yeah. The remakes were just starting to die. We're pretty much dead, but they were still doing some stuff.
Yeah, it was still a little bit of a dark age, I feel like, that era of cinema, I guess.
The 2010s at that? I guess.
Just like that mid-period, because like I feel like once it got closer to like 2017-ish, that's when we started really getting...
I would say mainstream horror got a lot better. But I think we had talked about on our prior podcast that, and it could be because I haven't been going as hard as I used to. But indie stuff, I haven't been finding as much stuff I've really, really been liking.
Yeah.
But, which is strange. I hate to admit that, and I'm probably going to get, yelled at in the comments if anyone actually, who No Star Reviews, isn't that the guy?
No Star Reviews, that's the hardcore fan from Wisconsin. I was looking at the analytics from the episodes that have been out so far, and I also have a following in Ireland. Isn't that where Dylan's is?
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the same people, but
That would be phenomenal.
that'd be incredible.
That would be
but
great.
But yeah, Oculus. If you guys haven't seen it, definitely go check it out.
Highly recommended. Holds up. It's between the other two that we watched. My two picks. Oculus probably holds up the best, but between the three films that we've watched so far, they're all kind of different breeds. So it's hard.
Yeah, it's hard to compare them because I mean those two were very much horror comedies, but very different styles of horror comedy.
Yeah.
This one is definitely much more serious and that kind of stuff, and deals with trauma and mental health and all that kind of stuff. So it's definitely very strange to compare them. And the next film that we're going to be watching at the tail end of this show is Popcorn, which is a slasher film. So it's definitely going to be different to compare those with this. So I feel like we got a good variety with a lot of the stuff we've been
My other stuff
watching.
I picked has some variety too. So we'll go to a couple more dark places before this is over.
Yeah. So yeah, any last thoughts on Oculus?
No,
I saw that Jared gave it 2 stars on Letterboxd when I was re-rating it just now. So I don't know what his deal is, but
I don't know. He doesn't like
That shit's funny.
he doesn't like anything. I don't know, man.
I don't know.
They always, I swear to God, I always get reamed for stuff that I watch on there. I'm like, well, you can't say it's bad if you've never even seen it. Or like, how much of the film were you on your phone where you actually watched it? You know? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. I re-rated it 4 stars, so I mean
I
it's
don't know.
whatever.
What did I put it under? 4?
I didn't see
Maybe
your.
it was too old. Maybe I didn't go back and rate it because there's a lot of stuff that I need to go back and rate.
I didn't see
I
your
will.
original rating. 9 of my friends watched, and you are not one of them.
I better go back and do. I even ranked a ton of stuff.
So Ricky rated it 4.5. So Ricky knows what he's talking about in this situation.
It's at least a 4 to 4.5. I would agree. It's a really well done, great film. It's
Yeah.
tired me out. I will say that. It made me a little tired, but not because it wasn't good. Is because the material is a little.
It's heavy stuff.
It's
It definitely don't watch this if you're on a first date or if you're looking
Yeah.
for something fun to watch. Like this is definitely like I don't know,
Well,
after
maybe don't watch this by yourself either.
Yeah.
Maybe watch it with someone that you're comfortable with, like you've known for a while, or a significant other that you guys both are getting into this experience together. Because it's,
Yeah.
if you're having a bad day or a bad mood or you're going through a spot, probably don't watch this.
And don't watch it with your parents or your siblings
Don't watch it with anyone
that you're related to.
you're related to or that is under at least 14.
Yeah.
In my opinion. I mean, I don't know. A lot of 14-year-olds are assholes nowadays.
Yeah.
So maybe watch it with them, scare them straight. I don't know.
Yeah, Oculus. Yeah, that's about all I have to say about it at this time. We'll probably talk some more about it in a future episode. But yeah, so we're about to watch Popcorn, so we're gonna cut in here. And so the next time you hear from us will be after we watch the film. Right now, I'm stoked to bust out the VCR and the VHS. I was just the reason I picked this film is I was just dying to get just dying to watch some more VHS because I've been slowly watching them here and there with my illustrious wife. So when I was doing this, I was like, all right, we got to watch a VHS. So
I could look through my VHS and see what I have that's underrated for a future episode, but let's get to Popcorn. I'm ready for it.
Popcorn. So we'll be right back. So all right, that was Popcorn, man.
It was good. It was good. We just kind of talked about this because I don't know how to do this all this podcasting stuff, but
So back up a little bit. So I first saw this with Jared. I want to say like 3 or 4 years ago.
Wait, did we mention that before the film?
I don't know. We might have. Either way.
Honestly, guys, let's just keep going.
Yeah, so I watched it a few years ago, but you told me before we started watching it just now how your sort of introduction to it was, maybe. What's this website you're talking about?
Hard, you know. Okay,
he's gonna date himself a little bit.
This is 2000, 2008 to probably 2010, 11, 12. Well, there used to be a website, and I actually explained to this in the car, and that's where I was having flashbacks. So I was watching this that I'm pretty sure that's what I watched it on and fell asleep. There used to be a website called FearNet. I'm probably sure some of your listeners have been on it. Used to be a horror movie news site. As I mentioned to you, I think Lionsgate had bought into it, and other people bought into it. It became a network at one point. But back when it was just a website, they used to have a handful of films every week or every 2 weeks that would be free that you could stream on there. And I'm pretty sure Popcorn, I'm pretty sure I watched it on there. Buddy's actually looking it up as we speak.
So,
right now.
yeah, the website or whatever, like the video on demand website, started in 2006.
There we go.
And then it became an actual channel in 2010.
Okay.
But it closed at 2014.
Rip.
Yeah.
They got rid of the website too. So many good articles, so many good links.
Just gone forever.
But yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw it on there. I mentioned it when we getting that excellent pizza. Thank you, by the way. We got to do these podcasts. Got to make sure we're hydrated and well fed. So we were talking about FearNet and some other sites. Really dating me though. I was talking about bringing up some old shit. Some of that stuff's 13, 14 years ago now, as we just talked about. It doesn't seem like that long, but that was my introduction, and a lot of articles. I talked about like I've read a lot of articles about Popcorn on like Fangoria, Rue Morgue. It's definitely, as we talked about, you said this came out in 91. I for some reason thought it came out in 90. It was probably shot in like 89. Yeah, we're don't quote us here. We're kind of taking a little leisure with this, but just assuming. I told you as we were watching it, I go, God, this looks like it was shot in like 87. Like it didn't look late. Even some of the films started to have some like weird early 90s culture in it, like 89. So it was like a borderline where you could tell things were starting to change a little bit.
Yeah.
But this looks like mid 80s, like beginning of the end of the mid 80s or whatever. Never would have thought this was released at least on video in 91.
Right. But yeah, so yeah, as we said, we just rewatched it. If you did not watch it with us during the break, I guess we should just go over like the plot a little bit.
We should do that.
So basically what this film is about, at the beginning we're introduced to a bunch of like film students. Some pretentious film students, might I add.
Pretentious.
I think, what did he say about like Ingmar Bergman's work was trash or something?
He said, what did he say? What was the quote? Police Academy 5's cinematography is better than Bergman's entire filmography, or some just insane, absolutely nuts line. And on a side note, there's not 5 police academies, are there?
I don't know. I don't think so.
I thought they were just pulling that. I laughed because I thought they were pulling it way out of their ass. That they figured by the time this came out, they would be working on the 5th one or something. Who knows? I don't know. I let Buddy look up everything because Buddy's on there right away. He's like, here, let me give you that real
Police Academy 5, that's a real thing from 88.
Oh.
So if they shot this, so they had to
probably
at least
shoot this in 89 then.
Yeah.
They probably shot this in 89. That really, there we go. We lasered that in.
Yeah.
All right, we lasered that one in.
So yeah, it's these film students, and basically like the professor of the school or whatever, or one of their teachers or whatever, like they're setting up basically like a retro movie night, like essentially at like this local theater that closed down. And it's not like modern cinema for them. This is like William Castle type shit. Yeah. Like it's the kind of movies where like it's like the spook show basically. So like you go in and like with the William Castle films or whatever, like House on Haunted Hill and stuff like that, like you're in the theater and it's basically like a fun house. Like he has like skeletons like going across the ceiling, like buzzers in the seats and all that kind of stuff.
When it was an attraction, it wasn't just going to watch what was ever on the screen. It was almost like an interactive attraction.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Right. It was like immersive, like the complete like 4D experience. Like there were actors like in the audience who would like reenact scenes. Have you ever been to like anything like remotely similar to that at all? Cause I've been to like Disney World and stuff, and like they have like some shows where like you're watching it and like it's like based on A Bug's Life or whatever, and like they have like effects that make like look like cockroaches are like crawling all over you and like stuff like that. And
feel like I went to one at Universal when I was in California. They had
I'm sure they've got stuff there.
I think they had one. I don't know what it was. Most thing I remember at Universal was taking the backlot tour, and then it ended on the King Kong ride. Let me tell you, if you ever want to experience whiplash,
oh yeah, when Kong's slashing around,
and they let you take drinks on the ride, drinks and food. Pretty sure I spilled a whole tall boy over like a 5-year-old kid, so they just bathed in beer.
Oh, you weren't an adult when this occurred,
huh? I was an adult.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
this was like 5 years ago.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And they let you. I walked from Moe's Tavern, the Simpson thing. Right in there, grabbed a tall boy at the stand right in the edge on the way by, walked in line, looked at all the movie posters. I was geeking out about a lot of stuff. I was super excited to be on the back lot.
Yeah.
But I didn't know it ended on
confrontation, yeah.
FYI, we got a little loose. They used to say getting loose with the boys. I used to have a friend that used to say that. I got a little loose during this film, so I might get off on some tangents tonight. I've been pretty tame on the last couple podcast, but not the two nerds one though.
That's
But anyways,
yeah. But they're recreating the spook show basically, and like the twist on it. Oh, go ahead.
Remember, before you get too far, it starts off though, and it has the main woman. I can't remember her name. I remember there was Tina's and
the actress's name. It was like Maggie. Oh, it was like Maggie or something.
Okay. She is having all these crazy dreams.
That's how
crazy dreams that seem very real and vivid to her. And she's actually trying to write a script or parts to a script or, whatever based on these dreams. So you see her waking up and like taking notes like immediately of like whatever's in her dream.
Right. Which I used to do, by the way, because I was like, I gotta do. Yeah, I used to like pull out my phone, like I was like, that's a fucked up dream. I gotta remember that.
That's honestly that's the best. That's the best way to do it, especially if you have really like I'm liking this shit. I have in sci-fi's. I've had some wild dreams.
So she's having like these crazy dreams, and then she named the character in her dream Sarah, and then like in her script, I mean, she named it Sarah, and like her mom is like, well, why would you name her that? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? But, like, we don't know what it means. And then, she's going to school. They're setting this film festival together, and, like, they're previewing some of the films. And one of the films is exactly like her dream.
Well, they come across it, that old guy's trunk. They're looking at all the film. They're looking at all the props. There's this amazing guy who's only in there for one scene. He's just at the beginning because he like owns best fucking props.
Because he owns the cinema or whatever. One of them is like the guy who owned it, or yeah.
It's definitely, if you guys didn't watch it on the break, it's definitely an homage, an ode to practical effects, a bygone time. Yeah, obviously, whoever wrote and directed this really liked probably 50s cinema,
right?
60s cinema, basically like things that even if you think about when this came out. Kids that were, you'd have to be in your 30s probably when this came out to really experience some of that, maybe at a young age or something like that. Because by the time the 70s and 80s roll around, 70s
that stuff was all gone. Yeah.
A lot of stuff was at the 70s. Was a lot of stuff at the drive-in, and then summer blockbusters started taking up. Not in the form that they are nowadays. They were still sending stuff city to city and things like that, but it definitely wasn't this immersive.
Right, it wasn't
smell-o-vision and every other
stuff
thing
like that. It's very much a 50s thing. So yeah, I mean it. The film they end up watching is just like her dreams, and she's like, "Oh, what's this?" And then you get a little backstory on it, and it turns out that this was like a local film that some guy made called Possessor.
He had his video cult, his film cult.
Yeah, he was like a filmmaker. I guess like they would show his films, and he got made fun of all the time. And So he got real pissed off, and then, like, basically this was supposed to be, like, his grand finale where, like, the final scene of the film at the premiere is him, like, murdering his family, like, in front of everyone and filming it or whatever. And I think that's why the theater closed down, maybe, because I'm pretty sure
I couldn't tell if that was the same theater or not. Well, no, it couldn't have been because the other theater caught fire.
Oh, it burned down. Yeah, it burned down. So it couldn't have been the same theater.
It caught fire. Yeah.
But regardless, so then I don't know how deep we want to get into on specific plot points if you haven't seen it. But that's a good like setup. So like. She's seen this film before, parts of it, and you're sort of like piecing together like the mystery of like, is she having visions of this or what's going on? So
basically, when they get to the film festival, because the film festival takes place, things start to go a little haywire, but it's all very behind the scenes.
Right, the audience has no idea what's going on,
so
and
that's pretty much as much as I'm gonna give on.
Yeah, but so yeah, and I mean, it's. I don't know if you'd call it a slasher film, but I mean, there's like a body count or whatever.
There definitely is a body count. Lots of one-liners every time, either right before someone gets killed or right after someone gets killed. Like the killer's kind of talking to the next character and throws a little whatever. Oh, I had some gas or whatever, or like things like that. So the dialogue was very entertaining. There was some very blunt dialogue. A lot of the men trying to get women in this did hilarious things. You know, I definitely was writing notes the entire time of how to pick up chicks. It's definitely if you're.
This is why I wanted to watch this for you. I know you've been having some difficulties.
Oh wow, taking digs. Jeez, Kat. All right. Well, we're gonna skip over that unless anyone, if there's anyone out there that's listening to this, even those lovely women in Ireland that listen in Dublin or
that's on Dylan's show, but I have a couple in like Norway and in Ireland.
Right. Well, I'm blonde hair, blue eyes. The hair's growing out. I can cook and clean. If you'd like to just message Buddy, I can.
We'll set it up. Yeah,
throw my IG information out there for you.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I thought the film was a lot of fun. I mean, I don't know if I enjoyed it as much as I did the first time I watched it. But I think it's just because when I'm at Jared's house, like, we're usually watching, like, the worst shit imaginable. So just, like, by chance, you happen to pick a VHS from his collection and it's something, like, halfway decent. It's, like, the best thing of all time. Because, I mean, we're watching stuff like Crystal Force and, like, all this, like, this terrible, terrible stuff.
Usually we only watch action stuff when I go over there. I almost never get him to watch a horror film.
Yeah. Well, I think, because he normally, when I go over there, we'll watch, like, an Arnold movie or something. Or, like, some other, like, kung fu, whatever, like, with Batista in it now. But, I think we watched this during his... It was in October, so I think he was reviewing it on the well, he was looking for a film to review on the show. And, like, the part of the reason I wanted to watch it, because, like, I had seen this box art for years. And I was, like, always like, okay, well, this film looks good. Like, I've always wanted to watch it, but then I never did. So, like, when he pulled it out as one of the options, I was like, all right, we have to watch this one. I'm not watching whatever the hell else you picked, so... And yeah, I remember he liked it too, and he was like blown away by it because again, he was watching the worst shit ever. So, but yeah, I thought it was good. I thought it was good this time too. I
liked it. Like I said, it was kind of ode to basically like everything that I kind of like. I mean, it really hit across the board. The characters were all. At first, they're very pretentious, as you mentioned, but they become very likable. Like, the minimal amount of time we spend with each of the characters. Because the characters do come in and out of frame, like, very quickly.
And there's a lot of kids, like, in the group. And
like, about 10? I think there's, 10? And honestly, the only one that really is a main is the main
couple.
Maggie or whatever. And even that guy at first, the character that the main guy... His name's Mark. Didn't they give him Mark or something?
Something like this is a basic name.
But him at first is not who he really seems to be, especially once the film gets on about halfway. He definitely comes off first. I'm like, oh yeah, here comes the fucking typical 80s cut off tank top meathead bro.
Yeah.
And then he kind of has, his character, he kind of has a little bit of a soft side and becomes kind of like a good guy throughout it. I kind of like that he just wasn't, kind of broke that mold. But all the other kids are in and out so quickly. The most time you spend with them is basically when they're about to die.
Right.
I mean, that's where you get the most sense of who they are. The killer's really well fleshed out.
Yeah.
We won't spoil too much like we said, but the killer's fleshed out. He really gave it all to his performance.
Yeah.
Ton of special effects, practical effects in this. I mean, ton of prosthetics. I think I would have liked to seen the kills, even though they were inventive. I think I would have liked to see, but maybe that's just me. Like one or two a little more close up, like not necessarily gory, but maybe something a little more out of the box.
Yeah.
Just because they spent so much time doing all these facial prosthetics and
right.
They had a lot. I mean, there was a lot of stuff going on. I mean, they built that big ass mosquito, which I know we think is funny, but like that actually takes a ton of time to build something of that size, and it actually didn't look that bad. Like, it looked very similar to what they. Well, obviously they did the films, so they. Fake films.
That's something I was going to talk about. So like, we're not only getting this, but like we're actually like seeing the films like within the film. So like, there's one about like a giant mosquito. There's one called like The Stench. And there's like a couple more, and like that's how the kills are happening basically, because like
almost like mimicking them.
Yeah, because like as we said, like in the William Castle films, like a skeleton would come down on the ceiling. So in this, it's the film Mosquito, and like it's a big mosquito or whatever that's like coming down.
Huge, like it was, probably in real life that thing was probably like 4 or 5 foot tall and about 6 to 8 foot long. I mean, they built a real ass. They had a rig. They actually, they didn't skimp on any of this.
Yeah. So, and I don't know. Part of what makes me like the film, I guess, is what we were just talking about, like the films within a film, because that's something I've always wanted to do. Because like I'm a big fan of like the Universal stuff and like 50s stuff and like 80s stuff. Like I'm into like all kinds of things. But like if I'm making a film today, like there's not that much of an audience for like a 30s era type movie. And like that's something I like always wanted to like do, was like make like a film like in the style of like a Universal monster movie or whatever. But like there's no audience for it today. But like if you're making a film and then in that film there's like a fake movie, you can like get away with it. You know what I mean?
We're going to take a pause real quick. And we're going to cheers real quick to our sponsors, Iron City Beer.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to do the bottom cheers. Now, with COVID, guys, COVID.
Yeah.
Social distance your fucking beer even.
Yeah. But yeah, I've always wanted to make like a fake movie or like a fake trailer or something like that. So like, I don't know. I'm envious of this film, I guess.
I really think that the last probably third of it, when the killer really got going, more so when he was in the forefront, and his acting, he's really like, he was really into the role. Honestly, the prosthetics they gave to him were phenomenal. And even some of the dialogue gets really hilarious with some of the cuts they do and stuff. Like when he tells her his plan and she's like, oh, that makes complete sense. Like the sarcasm was like dripping off the screen. I almost just burst into tears. But it was so on point that I just kind of was like, huh. Like I don't know. But the ending was so 80s. They don't make endings like that anymore. Not often. They definitely stopped making endings like that in the 90s. I think it came back more once a bunch of these modern filmmakers that grew up on 80s stuff came back. But very abrupt ending.
Oh, yeah. Very.
Super abrupt. We won't spoil it. I mean, it's nothing to write home about, but it gave us a good chuckle.
Yeah.
But overall, just a really fun... probably one of those last like shebangs of the 80s cinema that bled into the 90s. I mean, that wasn't a sequel to something from the 80s.
Right, it was an original thing.
Yeah, it was actually original and did not have a sequel as well. It's kind of its own entity. Yeah,
And we were also talking about how like we were talking like during the film and stuff how like this is something that like you wouldn't necessarily see today because like there's so many people that show up to like this horror movie like festival or whatever like in all these costumes and everything, and it's just like it's such like a product of its time. Like it's great.
Very much a product of its time. I agree.
Yeah, like I said, like I feel like today you could get away with it because Halloween's like coming back, but like I don't think people would go that all out and buy into it the way that they do in the film.
No, they were. There was some, and honestly, like the quality of a lot of the masks and stuff, and there were people that had second bodies on their bodies and big insect heads for a second. I mean, probably doing the special effects and getting this like costumed and propped and everything, making this film was probably an absolute blast.
Oh yeah, I mean, and that's like the film looks like it was a ton of fun to make, and that's part of what like makes it so enjoyable because it just looks like everyone was having a good time.
Love.
Yeah,
looks like a labor of love.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of anything else like weird to say about it that like isn't a spoiler.
I will say it's nice to watch something because we've watched stuff now. This is our fourth film in this series, we'll call it. And we've done stuff from... We did one from the 2010s, which was Oculus.
Two from the 2010s, because we did...
Oh, shit, yeah.
We did
Innkeepers.
Innkeepers
Was 2011. For some reason, I keep thinking...
Yeah, and then we did one that was like mid-2000s with Undead.
Right.
And then this
was actually early 2000s. That was 2003.
Yeah, like 03. Yeah.
We keep forgetting that 03 is 17 years ago.
That's insane. I want to die right now.
I know. Think about that. It makes me want to die a little bit. I agree.
Yeah, and then this was in 91 or whatever, like before I was even born. So you were a toddler.
I was alive. I was actually alive. I was a small child.
Yeah. One thing I want to mention, because I don't know if anyone on the internet has mentioned this, I don't know how many reviews of this actually exist online, but the mom's like note to the daughter that was like, oh, tomorrow's the big day, see you soon. But then at the bottom, like a mom would normally put like XOXO.
Yeah.
It said triple X.
It just was triple X,
So
baby.
mom has like some porno stuff going on, or I mean, I don't know what that's all about.
As I mentioned right away, like we were watching, I was like, is that Dee Wallace?
Yeah.
And
You
Dee
knew who
Wallace,
it was immediately.
I mean, she was a pretty big deal in the 80s. She's been in some of Rob Zombie's modern stuff, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She looks almost the same.
Oh.
She's aged very well.
Yeah.
But she was a big deal. Obviously added some... And yeah, the guy that played the old man, that's what I thought, Ray Walston... I forget what he's in, but he's been in a ton of stuff. That's gonna make me look bad. I mean, you can leave that in there for the podcast, but
the good thing I'm on the IMDb right now.
Seriously.
So he was in like Fast Times at Ridgemont High. He was in Popeye.
Oh, okay.
155 films
yeah,
total.
He's done.
Yeah, he's done a lot of
He's
stuff.
done quite a bit of stuff.
Yeah. But yeah. I guess some other talking points. How about the music in this?
If you guys didn't watch the entire end credits, shame on you, because honestly, that first... I feel like they watched the late night... I feel like this dates itself almost, if you listen to the credits, perfectly, because hip-hop was just starting to come into, like, super mainstream, and all of a sudden, like, white America was trying to gimmick off of it, and all of a sudden you got all sorts of bad, hilarious hip-hop at the end of films. Nightmare on Elm Street tried to do stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple of them, yeah.
Yeah. And then a ton of stuff was putting in, like, hilarious, generic hip-hop on stuff. Right after this would have been Vanilla Ice doing the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles rap.
Yeah.
I mean, God. But yeah, it was the killer kind of talking over rap in parts.
He was like, oh, we go into
like,
the scary movies, or
yeah,
like the rap was about scary movies. Yeah.
But he was so raspy in a couple parts. It was just like, it sounded like he was eating lit cigarettes and trying to rap over it. But it was great because he kept falling off rhythm a little bit. Like the words weren't flowing perfectly with the beat. He just kept.
It was a limited, but they had to get it in one take.
They had to get. I really hope that was a one take. That would have been phenomenal.
Yeah. But the rest of the music in the film, besides that one song, I don't know if you noticed this, but it was all reggae.
It was a lot of reggae. Yeah, you're right. And they had that reggae band in the middle of it.
Yeah. And the reason why, and you had asked me this during the film because we saw like some weird spellings of like a couple words, and you were like, oh, is this like French Canadian? Like, where did they like make this? Because like they spelled like the word preview weird. This is from Jamaica.
Is it really?
This film, yeah. I don't know if it was, if everything was produced. I know it was shot in Jamaica, and they must have just got like a deal on the bands or something. but I think it was like an American production shot in Jamaica or something like that. But yeah, all the music's reggae, and I don't know, it just adds to the mood, I guess.
Adds to like the weird. It's almost like an oddity, like an odd. How many films are really shot in Jamaica? I mean,
I don't know.
I mean, especially back then. Nowadays, yeah, Fast and Furious will go shoot half a film in Jamaica or do something like that. But to take like a probably medium budget. This probably had a somewhat decent budget for the time. I mean, for a horror film, but like medium budget film, be like, okay, let's bring everything down to Jamaica.
Yeah.
Or what? Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah. I don't know. Another crazy fact that I saw when I was just on the IMDb right now. After 3 weeks of shooting, the main actress was replaced with the girl we have now. It was a different actress, so they had to like reshoot shit.
The whole thing?
All the stuff with her in it, yeah.
Oh wow.
But like luckily, like I guess like they were able to get by with like B-roll footage and stuff where like it's not like the whole group together to like fill in like her missing spots.
Did they say why?
It does not say why. It just says after 3 weeks of shooting, Amy O'Neill was replaced with Jill Sholin, or however you say it. And then it says most cases it was quick reshoots because it was just like cut-ins and stuff. It doesn't say why.
She must have really messed up.
Yeah, she must have got kicked out of Jamaica or something.
Something.
Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, yeah, I thought it was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. It was a good... now is where, you know, as we've joked on some of these, we're not actually, you know, we're in the fall, so it's very, very fitting for getting me excited for the season. So.
Yeah, and as another thing you mentioned during it, it makes me miss working at a movie theater a little bit watching this.
I said we've both worked at movie theaters. I think it's just everyone should work in a movie theater for like a year. And just have it as an experience. I don't know. I worked in an independent theater, so my experience was... I mean, yours... Us being from Ashtabula,
yeah, I mean, it's a small town theater. I mean, even though mine was like a corporation one, but like it was still like...
Yeah, it
was like small.
That's
and
what
all
I have to
that,
say.
yeah.
I'm like, yeah... But like, we probably had really cool experiences where maybe nowadays...
It might not be.
These 20 theater things... It's probably not the same, because I got away with a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And there were we saw some films early, and there was quite a few things that happened at that movie theater back in the day that I don't know if kids were getting to now. But it was a perfect job when I was like 18 years old.
Oh yeah, I loved working at the theater and stuff. The popper never exploded while I was there. But yeah, it was a good time when I worked there. And I worked at a family video too, so like that was also a fun experience. Like
I always wanted to work. Yeah, I told the family video story, but no one ever tried to work at family video. We'll just that's my final note on this popcorn. I loved it. No one ever tried to work at a family video.
Well, I think most of them are closed now anyway.
I think they're starting to go, yeah. But it was nice to watch something old school.
Yeah, it was fun. So I have nothing else to say. Go check it out. It's free on YouTube for right now. Who knows? Maybe this podcast will bring some attention to it and it'll get taken down. But at the moment, it is free on YouTube. Of course, you can get it on VHS, and I think they have like a limited
I think they have
Blu-ray.
released a Blu-ray now, yeah.
Yeah, so...
I'm not sure if Shout Factory did it or if it was limited to... like one of those other companies, like Scorpion releasing.
Yeah, but
did something.
Yeah, but it's out there, so everyone can go see it in some way. Yeah.
The next one I'm on, I'm not sure if it's gonna be your next week podcast or that. Buddy doesn't even know what we're watching first. It's gonna be a surprise.
Are we leaving it a surprise right now, or
we're leaving it a surprise?
All right,
now.
so we're gonna keep the audience on a.
It's probably not. It's not gonna be overwhelming for the. It's not gonna be like, oh my god, you know. It's gonna be something fun. We're gonna watch something real fun and short. And get us in the mood, because the second film I picked is The Sacrament, which will be on the next one I'm on, and I was like, well, do I do the mystery film first or do I do it second? And I go, well, let's have a little fun first, because Sacrament's it's a great film, but there's not a whole lot of fun in it. It's a little bit too real, but I haven't seen that in a while. We did The Innkeepers, which was another Ty West film. Sacrament's another one of his. I was just fortunate enough the other day to actually get House of the Devil on Blu-ray new.
Oh, yeah?
I was actually looking through something. I got that. I actually have that on VHS too. They did a short run of that in VHS.
Oh, really? That would have been crazy.
Yeah, I have that as well. I forgot as I bought the Blu-ray. I'm like, oh, I now own this on 2 formats.
Yeah.
But as people on this podcast are probably starting to lean in, I'm a pretty big Ty West fan. All of his stuff, including his stuff on like the VHS, like anthology,
right.
Stuff like that. But so I think the next podcast is gonna be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, so thanks for sticking with us. If you guys have seen Popcorn or Oculus, let us know down in the comments below. Let us know what you guys think about the film. You can follow us on Twitter. The links are in the description and all that. Instagram's Miles' place to be, so Miles AAC on Instagram.
Only if you're those chicks from Norway, though.
Yeah, only if you're a Norwegian chick.
Or if you just want to talk about all the films you watched on FearNet 2 when it was up. I mean, if you want to geek out about, like 2008 to 2012, I'm all for that too.
Yeah. All right, so that's about it for this time. We'll catch you with another episode, and it's a mystery. I don't know what we're watching, so let's see what happens next week. Thank you again, guys. Midnight Miles is out. Yep, we'll see you guys in the next one. We're out.